So my first question is, what does that mean to you, authentic in the workplace?
What that means to me is people, when they say something, they believe what they're saying. So if I say, I'm very grateful to be here, I believe that. I'm not being false. I'm not putting on a facade. And for me, that's simply being authentic.
Let's then just dive right into it. We're diving. So I guess the basic, I'm going to skip over a few things and just go to talking about using your quality of life principles. What is that? And how did you come up with that idea? And how do you incorporate it into the workplace?
Well, what I realized was 17 years ago, I actually spent some time in the service, and I was raised via the service to be a project manager, program manager. So I was separated out from the group and given very special training. And along came a guy named Dr. W. Edwards Deming, who actually made Japanese quality what it is today. He was one of several, but he was actually brought in by General MacArthur to upgrade all of Japan. And he created the quality structures in Japan, and then finally the United States said, hey, come on back here. We might want to increase our quality standards. And what happened was that he finally got to the government while I was in the service in the United States Navy, but it was throughout the Department of Defense. He was actually brought in by Congress. And he had these principles about quality. And they were great. They were great for production lines, for assembly lines, in which he specialized in. But no one really knew how to apply them into service environments. And so 17 years ago, I had a group of folks, and I said, gee whiz, it would be great if we could apply all those in the same mathematical sense and the same structures to the service environments to see if we can bring in quality and service. What the results of that came about, that it was actually quality of life that we wanted to actually implement in the workplace. As you create a better quality of life, productivity dramatically improved. So one of the things how it came about was I was asked by some groups associated with the Pentagon to recover failed programs, some of those dealing with national security. They were failing at the time. I went in and recovered them, and I realized that using these principles dealing with quality of life, I dramatically improved productivity. I think the first time I did it, people were stunned. The second, third time I did it, people said, what is he doing? I had to say to myself, why am I going into an organization, and it was normally a Fortune 100 company, $1 billion program, why am I able to recover that program or fix certain parts of it when the people that were there couldn't do it? And I had less information about it and less knowledge. So it wasn't my knowledge domain. It was the techniques I was using. So I actually re-engineered those, thought back and said, well, what worked, what didn't work? And it was all based upon quality of life. And so right now I have a very formal technology that says if you implement quality of life using these constructs, your productivity could shoot up sometimes 20 to 30%. When I did it for the government, I shot productivity up sometimes by 150%. Wow,
wow. And so what was it about quality of life that inspired these individuals?
Well, it's interesting. If you look at a standard dictionary definition, American Heritage, or even go online on the internet, look at dictionary.com. What you're going to find is that quality of life has really nothing to do with how big a house I own. Quality of life really has to do with my self-worth, self-esteem. Now maybe a big house might get that, but it's really not about the big house. It's more about how do you feel about yourself in terms of self-worth, self-esteem, self-confidence. Well, in doing work, if I have a lot of self-worth, self-esteem, self-confidence based upon the experience of me doing work, I'm basically doing a good job. I mean, I'm not going to get that if my boss says, oh, you haven't done very well here. I'm going to get that when people say, wow, look how well you're doing, and you recognize that yourself. You're basically being authentic with yourself in terms of your quality of life, in terms of your self-worth, self-esteem. Well, just think about that. If I give you a very challenging, hey, we need to get this stuff done, we have this much money and this much time, and I'm able to achieve that and raise my self-worth, self-confidence, and self-esteem, well, management benefits, the individual benefits, and likelihood is that the customer will benefit. And so we found that when we're able to bring in a thing called metrics, ways to measure that, in a very formal sense, to give people the ability to objectively look at themselves, be more authentic, and then deal with their increase in their self-worth, self-confidence, self-esteem, productivity dramatically improves. As a matter of fact, I would go into a company, and right now I'm implementing, we have 2 pilot programs going on for Department of Defense. And what's being shown is that people are wanting to use this technology, wanting to track, wanting to get the feedback on improving their performance if it relates to their quality of life. And if you have quality of life relate to achieving major agendas, major milestones, accomplishing things like cost reduction or whatever is going on as an initiative in the business, everybody wins. And dramatic improvements occur all with ease. And that's the nice part about it.
Yeah, that's beautiful.